We might as well do it here where it's not 10 below out at least. I'll show you when we get out there, but basically a landfill cell, you first find a suitable area. Well, this turned out to be a suitable area. So you will measure your depth of groundwater. We need to stay so far away from the groundwater with our garbage, where it's going to be. So if we've got groundwater, let's say at 30 feet out here, we can only dig down 15 feet with our new cell. We got to stay so far away from the groundwater. So anyhow, once you determine what that is, you basically rough out, an area, just dirt. You rough it out, shape your cell to what it's going to be. Compact the soil back in there that's there. And the way the cells are built now, then you get clay. We actually haul our clay from Michigan. You put down 6-inch lifts of clay. So in other words, it takes about 8 inches of clay, but then it's packed really tight to 6 inches. It's got to be 90% of basically what it would be naturally. Basically, it's tight. You dry it out basically and pack it. You do that, 6-inch lifts, you do 8 of those, so there's 4 feet of clay out in the landfill.
Wow.
On top of that 4 feet of clay then there is a plastic liner. And part of the reason for the clay and plastic liner combination is if you were to poke a hole somehow in that plastic, and some liquid will get through it, the clay is actually should swell and kind of plug that hole. That's not foolproof, but the theory of it is pretty decent. And actually now, after a cell is built, and this has just come within the last probably 5 years, after the plastic is put down, then we put down a layer of sand and rock and whatever on top of that, but they actually come back and electrify the ground underneath the plastic and then take basically a wand over the whole cell and see if they can find any pinholes in that plastic that was put down. Actually this last cell, they found a couple, you couldn't even see them, but they indicated that there was a hole there, so then they come back and patch that. So basically what you're trying to do is prevent any water from getting into the ground here at all. So after you put the clay, the plastic, the cell that we built a couple summers ago now, rather than even having the sand drainage layer on it, so in other words, instead of 2 feet of sand before you put garbage, this has got 2 feet of rock over the top. The idea there is water goes through the rock better than it does the sand. Unfortunately for us, it costs more to haul rock in here than it does to have sand, so again, the expense of building goes up. So you've got your clay, plastic, rock, and actually then you cut in, and a landfill tool will be sloped from one end to the other. So it's higher on one end on the other. So when water hits that plastic, it's going to run down to the other end. And it's also sloped in this way where there's a trench cut in. So anyhow, the water that gets in the landfill is all funneled down to, in this case now, is a sump area, and that liquid's pumped out, up over the berm, and into a leachate tank. You guys were at the treatment plant in Eagle River, so the liquid that gets hauled out of here by tanker goes to the treatment plant and is treated there. Once the cell is full then, it's the same kind of thing over the back of it. So in other words, we'll put 50 feet of garbage in there, whatever we get in there. Then you put 2 feet of clay over that. Again, pack it 6-inch lifts. There's like a layer of dirt, clay, plastic again over the clay. So anyhow, when everything's all said and done, you basically have like a clay vault with a plastic over the whole thing to stop any future water from getting in there and contaminating years down the road. So it's a little more complicated than that, but in a nutshell, that's kind of what it is. So.